Coming your way on Philadelphia Eagles now, we're going to take a look at Mel Kiper's draft grades for the Philadelphia Eagles. But first, we want to welcome nearly 800 new subscribers who we picked up last week throughout the NFL draft. First of all, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that red subscribe button for videos every day on the Birds. But also, make sure you turn on those notifications and select all by hitting that bell icon. Therefore, anytime we go live, anytime we push out a video, you will be notified. Fly, Eagles, fly. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior, not Thomas Mott. Hashtag where's Mott? He is touring Europe all throughout the week. That's why I'm filling in. Coming your way on today's show, as I mentioned off the top, going to take a look at what Mel Kiper had to say about what Howie Roseman and Philadelphia did throughout the 2022 NFL Draft. In my opinion, Philadelphia clear winners with what they did, especially on night one, round one, moving up for Jordan Davis and making that big splash trade for A.J. Brown, who officially signed that contract on Monday at the NovaCare Complex. So really after night one, it was somewhat of a silent tenure for Philly in the draft. They jump the Baltimore Ravens, take Jordan Davis, the stud and uber-athletic defensive tackle out of the national champion Georgia Bulldogs with that 13th overall pick. In round two, they surprised a lot of people by taking Jason Kelce's future replacement, a guy who Kelce has scouted and really likes. He was able to relay that message to the front office that among all centers the last couple of years in any draft class, it's Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska who reminds him of himself the most. Round three, my favorite pick among all 32 teams in the National Football League, Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia, considering the value at number 83. He was a first-round talent on my board. Kyron Johnson, round 6, 181, the linebacker out of Kansas. And then Grant Calcaterra, the tight end out of SMU, a transfer from Oklahoma. Pretty fascinating story with him. He mulled retirement from college football because of a bunch of concussion issues, then went to SMU, had a pretty solid season. He's like a poor man Zach Ertz, does not break tackles, isn't all that athletic, but is certainly sure-handed. We'll unpack everything coming up here right around the corner, but first, I want to hear from you. We were able to publish our draft grades. Mel Kiper will get to his specific draft grade for Philly, but I want to hear from you. Grade the Eagles draft with what Howie Roseman was able to do. I think you put in that work. A, B, C, D, or F, let me know in the comment section. So Kiper's overall thoughts on the Birds. He was a fan of what the Eagles did on day one. He obviously thought that A.J. Brown in that trade for a first-rounder and a third-rounder for one of the most dynamic wide receivers in the game was a good addition as well. You pair him up alongside Devontae Smith, and already I think the Eagles might have arguably their number one receiving core in franchise history. Maybe it's rivaled by Terrell Owens and Todd Pinkston back in the day, but A.J. Brown, while he might not be T.O., Todd Pinkston, he ain't Devontae Smith. So certainly some arguments there if you look over the course of the Eagles franchise history. And he said Nakobe Dean, with where the Eagles selected him in the third round as a first-round talent on his board as well as mine, was the steal of the draft. So let's take a look at what Mel Kiper had to say about what the Birds were able to do. Obviously, they didn't have that many selections, but they were able to do a lot of positive damage with the selections that they did have. Kiper saying this about Roseman and that front office and their specific draft selections. We'll start on day one. How did Philly fare on day one? Well, it packaged the first pick to move up a couple of spots for massive defensive tackle Jordan Davis at 13 overall. He plugs a hole in the middle of the defense. Then it traded the number 18 pick and a late third rounder for A.J. Brown, who, by the way, only 24 years old. And A.J. Brown, 24 touchdown catches in 3 seasons with the Titans since coming out of Ole Miss. That's a solid day one, as Brown, who is younger than a few prospects in this draft class, makes a lot of sense on the other side of Devontae Smith and gives Jalen Hurts a proven playmaker. And we talked about this on Tuesday on Philadelphia Eagles Now, that Jalen Hurts was really one of the driving forces behind getting that word into Howie Roseman's ear to make a deal for A.J. Brown, one of his best friends. And I thought Brown and Davis was an excellent haul on night one. The big looming question with Jordan Davis, can he be a 3-down player? Can he rush the passer? Is he only a 2-down player? And is he only good against the run? In the modern day NFL, you don't want a traditional nose tackle who can only play a couple of downs in that sequence and can only stuff the run. But I look at Jordan Davis as a very good athlete at 6'7". He ran that 4.7 40. His broad jump and vertical jump was fantastic. His athletic testing numbers were just phenomenal. But you look at what Vita Vea does with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He is a traditional nose, and I think Jordan Davis can be better, and you see how he can impact games. That's how I envision and look at this Jordan Davis pick, and when you put him alongside Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave, he's going to be able to cause havoc against the run and against the pass right away, in my opinion, as a rookie, and he played on a Georgia defensive line that was stacked. They needed to rotate in players because all of them were so good. So I do think Davis can be a 3-down player. And, of course, with A.J. Brown, you get your bona fide number 1A, and Devontae Smith is now your 1B. Was Mel Kiper's draft grade fair? He went with the B+ for the Eagles, by the way. Type Y for yes, type N for no. I totally think so. And I actually think that he could have gone A for the Birds. He only gave out, I think, 3 or 4 A grades among 32 teams in the National Football League. I'm certainly going A. He went B+. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and as we talked about, turn on those notifications. Therefore, anytime we do publish a video, you'll be notified right on your phone, right on your computer, however you decide. But here on Eagles Now, whether it's me, Thomas Mott, anybody here at Chat Sports, daily Eagles coverage on the latest news and rumors, interactive content where we like to field all of your responses. All of our content, 100% free. It's not behind a paywall like The Athletic. So type S if you are subscribed to the channel. Turn on those noties. And if you haven't subscribed, you ain't alive. Just hit that red subscribe button down below. On day 2, let's see what Mel Kiper had to say about some of the Eagles selections there. And it was Cam Jurgens, who is going to be the future center for Jason Kelce replacing him. So Mel Kiper saying this: I also like the Eagles' picks on day 2, in particular linebacker Nakobe Dean, in addition to Cam Jurgens, who is the steal of the draft based on my board. He went a full 2 rounds after I would have taken him because teams flagged his medical reports. By the way, Howie Roseman saying that all the medicals for this organization checked out, and Nakobe Dean's going to be on the field this week. Kiper also saying this: Philadelphia believes that Dean will be ready for training camp, as I talked about. So I'm excited to see him quickly become a leader of the defense and play with his former Georgia teammate in Jordan Davis. Cam Jurgens, 51st overall, my second-ranked center. He will likely replace Jason Kelce when Kelce calls it quits. So when you talk about this Nakobe Dean selection, so many times in years previously, the Philadelphia Eagles as an organization have not prioritized the linebacker position until late in the NFL draft. I'm so happy that Howie Roseman has stopped overthinking things and trying to outsmart himself. He went with the best player available on his board, and I think Nakobe Dean can be a fantastic piece of this defense for many years to come. And I trust that the Eagles doctors checked out Nakobe Dean's medical issues, which caused him to fall on a lot of teams' boards. He was a leader of that Georgia Bulldogs national championship defense. He has wonderful instincts. What he might lack in size, he's able to make up for it with early play dissection skills. He sees plays develop before they actually happen, and Nakobe Dean brings something to this Eagles defense that the Eagles haven't had at that linebacker spot, honestly, since Jeremiah Trotter. A heat-seeking missile who can wreck and cause havoc during games, a guy who can range sideline to sideline, is good against the run, not afraid to put his hat on the football. He's also really good in coverage. It's a crime that he lasted until the 3rd round. It's a great luxury to have if you're Philadelphia. And this dude, lastly, is a straight-up dog, as evidenced by what he said to Dave Spadaro of PhiladelphiaEagles.com. He said this about getting drafted: I will do anything legal to win. I'm ready to get to work and show the Eagles why I was a great pick. The number 1 job is to win the Super Bowl. I plan to bring a couple of Super Bowls to Philadelphia. His attitude, his effort, his play, the dog mentality, which Nick Sirianni talks about, that's what Nakobe Dean possesses. If the medicals are fine and this guy can get on the field in year 1, I expect him to be the leader of this defense early in his NFL career and be an impact player right from the jump. So 32 teams in the National Football League. Where do the Eagles rank among all NFL teams with what they were able to do in the draft. I like what the Ravens did. I like what the Jets did under former Eagles executive Joe Douglas. A couple of other teams certainly made some headway and some splashes as well. Eagles have to be top 5 or top 10. Lastly, Kiper expanding his thoughts on what the Eagles were able to do in day 3. And again, they didn't have that many selections, but I thought they did a lot of really good things with their selections. Philadelphia had just 2 picks on day 3, but the Dean pick, the addition of Brown, and the extra premium capital in 2023 and 2024 means general manager Howie Roseman put together one of the best drafts of the year. Totally agree with it. I love what Howie Roseman has done, not just in the draft, but all throughout free agency. I thought the Eagles in free agency, and you never really want to be a free agency winner because oftentimes teams that pay a lot of money in free agency, those free agents don't end up performing well. But think about what the Eagles really did and some of the big splashes that they made. Hassan Reddick coming back to his home area where he played Temple football at Lincoln Financial Field. He's from New Jersey. He's still young, and he's one of the premier pass rushers in the game from a pure pass rushing standpoint. I think one of the under-the-radar signings was Kyzir White, the linebacker who comes to Philadelphia from the Los Angeles Chargers. And then with what the Eagles were able to do throughout the NFL draft, highly, highly impressed. And oftentimes, in years previous, we have not had a lot of confidence in Howie Roseman with what he's been able to do in the draft and free agency going into the season, because oftentimes he has swung and missed like Ryan Howard at the tail end of his prime when he's been trying to overthink it throughout the draft. He did not do that this year. I thought they went best player available. They were very calculated in what they wanted to do. Him telling Angelo Cataldi on 94 WIP, the morning show, that Nakobe Dean kept falling. Nakobe Dean kept falling. So Howie Roseman wrote on his notepad, Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean, Nakobe Dean. He talked about a story where he went down to Georgia in the pre-draft process, and everybody was raving about the kid, and that's when they finally realized, okay, if he falls our way, we got to make that selection. Howie, you finally prioritized linebacker. Philly, we have to thank you for that. What was your favorite move of the draft for the Eagles? A lot of good ones. It's hard to disagree with the Nakobe Dean selection, but trading for A.J. Brown, man, who, by the way, threw out the first pitch at Citizens Bank Park and threw a dart. He was a former draft pick in Major League Baseball. It certainly showed there. So let me know your favorite move of the draft for Philly, and also give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. It's the same handle on both social media platforms. Would love to hear from all of you. If you're unfamiliar with me, grew up in Westchester, went to Temple University, always down to talk Bird Gang, so hit me up on social media, and thanks for watching today's show.